Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Josh, VenomousNinetails, and I would officially like to announce Project Kitsune. So, I'm going to link it below, but it's Project Kitsune Collective on Instagram, and VenomousNinetails Kitsune Collective .shop, powered by Fourth Wall. So, this is my journey on creating Kitsune Collective, but also through entrepreneurship. And I'm going to start this off in college. I've had a hard time getting a job. I would take freelance jobs through Winolo, or I would try to create my own online drop shipping store with what little I had as a college student. Later on, I went to work for Kroger Personal Finance, which was the first stable job I had, which I ended up quitting in a month because they transferred me without any prior notice or training, like same day, when I told them I would do the job for another month or two before they transferred my position. And I wanted to get cross-trained, or maybe adjust my hours between both positions, which they promised me in, well, onboarding as well as like orientation that I would be able to do that. They didn't let me. As well as a store manager like threatened to hold me responsible. She got a bad review after I was done doing my job, which is a violation of employee rights. And on top of that, I am diagnosed ASD. So and our orientation does actually promise us that we could shop on. Actually, during our work, if there's no other tasks to do. And then they would just hold everything in the front for us. Or I could have a relative come pick it up and like give them my groceries with an employee discount. Kroger Personal Finance sucked. They erased some of my hours that I filled in the paper because my thumb scanner didn't work. I filled those hours in. Weeks later, they finally issued my last paycheck. But keep in mind, this is already like 4 or 5 months down the line, and then I take them to the Department of Labor for back pay. And I end up settling for half the back pay when I should have gone for the full thing, but I wanted the process to be over. That was not a valuable use of my time, even though time is money. I could have drawn it out another session and gotten even more back pay, which would have been more expensive for them. I should have done that. I ended up but around this time, I had also started working on my mom's insurance agency. My mom and I were fighting a lot at this time, arguing, but she decided to give me a job. I started as a customer service rep. I became an LSP. My mother promised I would be making $14 an hour. Originally it was 15, then it was 14. Didn't even pay me 13, paid me 12. She lied to me about how much I'd be making, thinking she could screw me over because I'm her son and she screws me over for everything. I should have seen that one coming. My mom is toxic codependent, but I worked with her for a year. I eventually quit my job on the spot, and I told her, like, you're not training me to do anything. You're not guiding me through a call on selling insurance. I got this LSP thing for nothing, and on top of that, the commission that was supposed to be mine, you gave to a different employee. Even though they wanted me to get the commission. But I didn't, I told them, you need to do it when I'm there. Otherwise I don't get paid. I was like, no, I want Josh to get the commission. My mother agrees to it, to the person I referred, and then gives the commission to someone else. It doesn't work that way. It's not a referral service. It's not affiliate marketing. But my mother told the person that I would, and then didn't. And the person's like, I'm sorry, your mom did that to you. I'm like, what? Well, one, I knew that, so I told you to call when I'm there on staff, what hours I would be there. Two, she agreed to do it so that she would look better in front of you. This is the woman that kept me from getting my license for 5 years. So, all this time I'm running a dropship store. I eventually have a friend that promised to throw money into it. Didn't. We tried another dropship store. We closed that down. I have experience with Shopify, and I can tell you it is absolute crap. But I know how to do a little bit of social media marketing. It was during this time I was working for my mom that under our social media marketer, Ricardo, I learned how to do social media marketing myself and how to be a social media manager, which is actually kind of what I freelance at nowadays. I don't bring in the same revenue, though. And it's not stable income, especially when you can't really use a lot of it on your resume, unless you have clearance to do so, because you are an independent contractor. A lot of times that work is NDA. It's 50-50 if it's NDA, but a lot of people don't want you using them as a reference as an independent contractor. So even if you don't formally send an NDA agreement, they're not going to confirm you exist. So what's the point? And a lot of times that work is NDA. Now, fast forward. I get back into Twitch. I'm freelancing for myself at this point. I have some income. As well as that COVID hits, and I'm also collecting the COVID money. And I'm trying to grow my apparel on and off through Stream Elements, through Printful. I end up desiring control of my merchandise, to design whatever I want. This would be... So I start drawing my own merchandise like 2 years ago. And one of my Twitch friends really likes my designs. I started showing them to everyone else. But I didn't do anything with them. A year later, a friend of a friend works at an apparel place. I call in. They are setting up an innovation center for the influencers, content creators, and small fashion brands, like boutique brands. I go check it out. I get their membership. They end up moving factories from the Smart Factory in Los Angeles to a smaller place in Vernon. Well, it's a little bit bigger, but they're compared to not bigger than the last place, but they don't have to share the space, and there's a second story. So it's smaller square footage wise, but there is a second story, which makes it technically bigger. Long story short, it includes a podcast studio, access to computers with their design software on them, and additional services to design clothes. I spend a year perfecting my design, and it's about $200 a month. This is through Tukatech Innovation Center. I recommend mostly using them for like product development. If you have background in Blender, you should be able to pick up their 3D software or design software super easily. Also, Blender Fusion 360. So it's not too difficult to learn. And you could probably self-teach if you're familiar with those kinds of softwares and those kind of tools. Fast forward to now, I soft launched my brand at Papumai, splitting a booth with Fiona the Arkham Siderium. And she was super nice to me. It was a pleasure meeting her friend and her boyfriend. All great people. And now I've been setting everything up for online shipment to Canada with the VAT prepaid DDP shipping. I'm in California, and Papumai was in Pomona. I didn't sell as much as I hoped for, but I got rid of some old stock. I sold some lanyards. The old stock I sold were some shoes, but they're actually really, really good shoes. It's just they're not a popular item for me. I do have a design certificate for designing shoes from Alive Shoes. So, take that as you will. I took 3 years of drawing in high school and a year of sculpture. I took 2 semesters of Japanese in college. I am a weeb. I do like anime and manga, but I am not the weeaboo kind of weeb. I'm not the bad kind of weeb. I'm not the extreme kind that, like, are an embarrassment. I'm a very moderate weeb. Now I'm designing gaming, anime, and webtoon-inspired streetwear, techwear, and athleisure. My first item was an athleisure item. It was the Kitsune's Foxclaw leggings, which is actually based off the female lead in my webtoon. And eventually there's going to be a cropped hoodie that has like a little cutout in it, that square rectangle cutout in it, so it looks more like her dress, but it's a cropped hoodie, and there's going to be a black mesh put over it. It's going to be a super breathable cropped hoodie. It's low enough that it's not going to show anything. It's actually going to be a very modest cropped hoodie, but it will be a nice, breathable cropped hoodie. I've gotten feedback on the hoodie and leggings that are super cute. I learned in the design process about thread weight. 220 is too transparent. 250 is a little more opaque, and 290 is roughly where you want to be at, even though people compare that to thermal leggings are 300. The thermal leggings are 300 plus fleece. 290 to 320 without fleece, without any sort of liner, should still be acceptable for athleisure. Then I have to figure out tools, right? I bank with Novo for my business account. Do not open a Bank of America business account. It is one of the worst ideas you could do. Bank of America does a whole lot of illegal structuring. At first, they were only doing it with my personal account, then they were doing it with my business account. I'm looking for a new credit union to open up a new personal account. I might try to reopen with the same place in the future. And as far as like design goes, I take inspiration. I do not straight up copy. So I have an upcoming techwear bomber jacket and cargo pants loosely inspired by Chainsaw Man. And I'm porting over the leggings from Tukatek to Malengo. Malengo has been a huge lifesaver. I was able to obtain a really, really, really good credit line with them. And I'm going to continue using Tukatek for development. As far as like actually producing the items, I need a higher profit margin. $12 was fine for soft launch, but I want to scale. As far as like my Wix on my fourth wall site, I have ShipStation and Stamps.com integrated to them to provide DDP shipping via Global Post. And I was supposed to officially launch in May. I hope one of my favorite content creators would still be willing to work with me after I took too long to reply to her. I'm sorry, supply chain issues. It took a while to make anything and perfect it. And I'm still working on the packaging for both what I'm going to send out and for the hang tags and for the influencer boxes. If you see this and there's anything you want in there, like snacks or anything, I just have to put it on the customs form and I will ship it out to you. Duties, deliveries, prepaid. You'll not have to pay any of that. I will prepay it for you. And and as far as the US goes, I have a couple friends of mine, both here in SoCal and in other states, that have offered to model for me. which I will be pursuing and inquiring a day rate of them. If you offer to do it for free, I will take you up on that offer. But you know I'm treating you towards food and drinks afterwards. I'm taking you to Little Tokyo and we are having a feast. We're going to the Konomiyaki place. And you better eat your fill, because I'm paying. For anyone that's like... And then I will accept remote modeling shoots. So, it is a thing. I am releasing men's items. There's like a... It's loosely inspired by both Blade from Honkai Star Rail and Red Hood, but it's its own design. It's not based off a webtoon, video game, or anime. Well, it is and it isn't. That's gonna be like just like this super like tech-wear themed hoodie that has like leather armor pieces. That's good. It's gonna be kind of badass. That's gonna be one of my men's items. So Project Kitsune is the apparel line. As far as like designing lanyards, I currently have VenomousNinetails lanyards. I'm eventually getting Project Kitsune lanyards. I'm eventually getting jet tags. Some jet tags I will give out for free as a bonus with the items inspired by certain characters. Just so like I don't run into any IP issues. But I will have Project Kitsune lanyards for sale. Like lanyard keychains specifically. And I do plan on getting bottle opener keychains made sometime soon. It's not that expensive to do through Alibaba. And the quality is really, really good. I do not like gatekeeping information. I'm going to be doing another video that's more in-depth on the tools that I use for business. So, be on the lookout for that. I've already covered some of them very shortly in this video, but there will be others. Now, that's been my journey. I want to show people that they can start from a place of, well, being the child of immigrants, having a really toxic home life where you're constantly arguing with your parents, they do not understand any of your health issues or what you're going through. They don't understand that they are extremely gaslighty and gaslight themselves and you. And you could still come out a success instead of a basement dweller. You just have to make good friends that give you peace. And you have to strive for success. If one way isn't working, instead of giving up, you have to find another route. That does not mean you could like freely compromise your morals, but stick to your morals and know that when there's a will, there's a way, and everyone has these God-given creative talents they've been blessed with, and they are at your disposal to use. Maybe if you can't find a day job, try being a creative. I'm not rich. But I am a lifestyle content creator who has an apparel business that I've soft launched already. And I have friends that want to do collaborative marketing efforts. I'm writing an individualized half of it and a collaborative half of it. And then I have to have my friends reorganize this because I can be rather blunt. And then the final document I will present to him. He also has his own business. And well, he's a Twitch buddy of mine. And his business is all about representation of his culture. My business is more inspired by pop culture and folklore. That's not necessarily my own heritage. I'm Spaniard genetically, with a little bit of Italian. I'm Iberian Hispanic. My parents coming from Central America. I don't know if, like, I would not make, like, La Llorona streetwear. Like, that ain't me. I don't relate to my own culture as much as people think. I'm actually ostracized by other Hispanics for not being the stereotype. A lot of Hispanics are. A lot of us refuse to be racist rancheros, right? Rancheros are a version of a redneck. It sadly is a stereotype. A lot of us want to keep the positive aspects of our Hispanic culture and have a more city upbringing. And that's more of what we inherit. We don't want to conform to, like, the East LA stereotype. We want a positive representation of Hispanic culture. It's not this La Raza or Latinx crap. I'm sorry, but real Latino Hispanic culture is different than what Americans think it is. And for actually preserving those aspects of our culture and a more city, sort of well-educated version of our culture, a less racist redneck version of our culture, we are ostracized by other Hispanics for that. And then when it comes to immigrant parent trauma, it's like, oh, you think you're sad? No, you're not. There's a lot of... If you think America and Western countries have like a toxic patriarchy, Hispanic culture has a toxic matriarchy, which creates a weird bell curve. Your mother runs everything, whether you like it or not, and if you're not a mama's boy, you're treated like you're a gangbanger. I don't fall into either of those categories. I am a Spanish emo rocker. Black nails. BC Rich Warlock. Long hair. I know I'm very punk rock. I'm a Spanish rocker. That's why in my webtoon, my main character, Jay, is a Spanish rock star. Albeit through Spotify, YouTube covers, and, well, playing Valorant. And Lost Ark. Yes, yes, he is a Twitch streamer and a YouTuber. Except Jay is mostly a YouTuber, which reflects the route I want to take with my content as a lifestyle creator. I'm also not an advocate for multi-streaming, yet I also multi-stream. Multi-streaming helps grow your YouTube and TikTok more than it helps grow your Twitch. That's the reality of it. And while it is useful if you're like streaming on TikTok or Instagram and Twitch at the same time, just now I do have an Instagram stream key. I just hope it doesn't change next time I try to stream, or if it doesn't change, or that it doesn't change every 24 hours. As long as you don't hit go live again, it doesn't create a new one. I want to figure out how to get a static Instagram stream key, but I think you have to pay for verification or have a certain number or be over 10,000 followers to get a static stream key. So hopefully it saves a dynamic stream key as long as I don't create a go live request and I can just use that. I'm hoping that's how it works for me. And the other thing is, this is my make or break year. I'm wrestling with Kaiser to give me TRT, which I'm legally entitled to. And I'm also trying to automate my content creation workflow. Also to save my editor enough time to where I could pay my friend Grid to edit multiple of my videos and get them out multiple times a week. And eventually, I want to hire Blank Slate Media. And then Marcus, who has his own comic called Lightning Strike, and also draws my webtoon. Once I have enough money to where like I'm not on a payment plan with him, that I don't intentionally abuse it, but with all my health issues going on lately, I kind of been abusing it. God willing, Marcus understands. I need to hit him up again. And if I could get a business loan, I would like to hire him in-house if he's still willing to work for me. And I don't expect him to quit whatever his day job is, or his own comic. Rather, it would just be a way for me to payroll him automatically, have the payroll taxes taken out, give him a salary, and he works on it in his free time between his other projects and his day job. I have not ran this by him, but that's ideally what I would like to do. And also, if any of my friends want to move out to Cali, or work remotely, I would like to have enough of a business loan to provide them with a more permanent job. I'm not there yet. I'm not rich. I'm struggling. The other thing is, I found out Solis Health actually, they have a clinic in Manhattan Beach and Santa Monica, and they have custom plans. I've been looking into Solis Health so that I can leave Kaiser. And I'm looking for a second day job through the Department of Rehabilitation. I do have a disability. I'm pretty sure I have two. I'm trying to get diagnosed with ADHD, but the amount that it takes to run my business right now, I can't afford to spend the $70 on it. I don't think a friend of mine's going to lend me the $70 to take the test. The other thing is, I have ASD, or Asperger's, which is now considered autism level 1. It's also been historically considered autism type 1 of 5. But now we've compressed 5 into 3 for like the new DSM that's coming out, which I think is stupid, and I think we need to go back to the 5 types because they don't all relate to each other. And high functioning autism relates very closely to ADHD and is in fact caused by the same gene. Not all autists are intellectually disabled. As you can tell with me, it's the exact opposite, where my disability actually makes me freakishly smart. It's not something I like to brag about, but it is something that does need to be said, because the stereotype of an autist is that we're not. But also, they're not supposed to deny you services for being high functioning. They're supposed to confirm or deny services based on how independently you function. And I'm sorry, but a combination of my disability, the stigma I face due to my disability, nervous tics that I have related to my disability, which overlap between autism and ADHD, and I have all the symptoms of both. Yay. Not really. It's a blessing and a curse. I'm also a highly sensitive empath because I can pick up on people's emotions through, well, threat perception. And both my parents are narcissists. I want to show people that they can succeed even if they're like at each other's throats with their parents. Gaslighting, emotionally manipulative mother who loves to play the victim when she starts something. And shows no respect to her son, and surprised when her son snaps back. Or a father that loves to yell over everything and risk his son's life, and then they end up wanting to fight physically. A couple of years ago on Twitch, I lied and said that my black eye was from walking into a stop sign. Or a light bulb. Yes, from my dad. He had pinned me against the little cabinet where we have the water bottles. I slapped him away from me twice, and he punched me in the eye. He had me pinned because he had gotten really angry with me. Now that I've taken a punch from him, I'm no longer scared of him, but that is the scary part. I don't want to live in this environment, and I want to succeed anyway. But at the same time, due to everything I've been through, I don't exactly fear standing up for myself anymore. I do, however, try to play things smart and not get into these situations to begin with. It's just really hard to do when you're in a very emotionally unstable environment. And I was almost homeless last year. My parents threatened to kick me out every chance they get. My car has bought me another year of living with my parents just because the clock spring went out twice. I do think that was God saying, hey, you got shelter here, young man. You'll eventually get out, but at least you don't have to live on the streets. And your car will be fully built by the time you leave. Or built enough. I'd say 75%, because I'm not going to drop a built motor in there just yet. I don't have the money, but it's on the bucket list. These next 5 to 7 years, I want to spend traveling the world. Vancouver, Hawaii, probably Atlanta again. Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, Korea, maybe the UK. And making memories of my friends all across the world who've been there for me. That is really effing loud. And making memories of my friends all across the world who've been there for me and shown me a true sense of community. All my health issues going on, with everything being, well, on a limited time frame. And also, like, I don't have help with fresh groceries. That's another thing I need to ask help with, because my mother is so controlling. She tries to control the house groceries, but she doesn't really get a lot of fresh groceries for me to actually be able to cook with. Shocker. Her solution is to just eat frozen pizza, which I refuse to do, so I often skip meals. People are like, well, that's why you're fat. I'm like, except I don't eat that shit. I haven't eaten that shit in years. I actually complain about it and like I toss it out a lot. I actually let it go bad in the freezer, or throw it out myself if I need the space. In fact, my mom ends up eating it out of spite. And I'm just like, well, I can cook for myself, but I can't afford to buy my own groceries. Like, everything's going towards my business. But I'm looking into, I don't think I'm going to go on CalFresh. I was on CalFresh at one point. I'm going to look into like food pantries and just give out like fresh groceries. It's mostly going to be stuff like tomatoes, carrots, lettuce. Might have some canned food, but it's better than eating a frozen pizza. And you know, hopefully I can just get like stuff to cook with and make really simple stuff. Like, realistically, what I want to buy is not that expensive. I live off protein powder. I supplement my meals with protein powder because I skip meals a lot. I buy like a 5-gallon thing of like unflavored casein because it's what I can afford. and I put my own cocoa powder into it. And other than that, it's like I can sort of make do with what's around the house for breakfast. Like I could make my own eggs, and I could toast my own bread. I can make jams and stuff. So that's the situation. I also have the type of parents that think doing the bare minimum to keep you alive is somehow being a decent human being. And it's not. Realistically, they've ruined my life more than they've helped. And my goal is to make enough money to move out by the end of next year. I will be looking for artists. I will be looking for I'll be looking for graphic artists and motion graphics artists. And I'll also be looking for someone to help with my website design. Hopefully Fourth Wall gets more features. And someone to redo my Wix site. I'm going to try to create a whole bunch of user-generated content so I have something to show to companies and can get a recurring sponsorship for content creation. I'm looking for a second job, as well as going into a trade school for automotive. I want to start working as a barista or a baker. I plan on opening my own coffee shop in a year or two if I can get enough money from my apparel line. And I plan on taking photography commissions since I do have a couple of nice cameras. I'm actually trying to sell off the Canon EOS M50. You might need to retune the outer screen. It works. Just fuzzy. But when you look through the camera, the picture's perfect. And the video records is perfect. Right now, I'm using it as my own camera for photo shoots for modeling. That's what I'm going to be using it for. And taking the raw photos. Like the raw photo file format. And that's what's going on. This is my story on how I came to create Project Kitsune. And realistically, I'm going to take over the world and live the lifestyle I want, traveling the world with my friends. This is not your stereotypical rags to riches story. I know it sounds like it is, but this is I have to protect my sanity, and that's what motivates me to be an entrepreneur. Getting our system for getting hired is a literal lottery, and it screws people out of a job. So I'm relying on the Department of Rehabilitation. Entrepreneurship is not something I chose. It was the only option available to me for years. And I'm not about to sabotage my business to put it on the back burner. My business is the main reason I do everything. And memento mori. You only live once. This has been your favorite quintessential Hispanic weeb, and God bless.